Hi, my name is Dr. Reem Sharhan. I am a naturopathic doctor, and today I'm going to talk to you about what is perimenopause, a very common question that I get. What does the actual word perimenopause mean? Um, I definitely see very commonly a lot of fear around the word perimenopause. Um, we connect our cycle and our menses to health and vitality and our fertility and aging. Um, so while all of that is true, there is some loss in those department. Um, I like to think of it a little differently, only because since day one we are, we take the day we took our first breath in this life, the day we were born, um, we have been experiencing loss anyways. We are born with a certain, number of um, eggs in our ovaries. There's around 1 million to 2 million eggs that we were born with. Um, and we are slowly losing them by the time we hit puberty, and that's around age 12, right? We reach about half of that number. We're at 500,000 eggs at that point. And since puberty and on, that process continues. With every menses, we're also losing, um, a, a few, a few eggs as well. So with every cycle, with every ovulation, where a few eggs are being recruited each time to make the menses happen. And while one egg makes it out, um, all of the follicles that were recruited in the process, they are gone. Um, so the process continues until you know we hit menopause, and that's when our egg reserves reaches a point where it's like almost fully depleted or depleted. Um, but the what is going on in between those two times? So when we since that time where we start, our menses during puberty, that is what we call the initiation of what we call premenopausal time. Um, and typically in a healthy person, we see regular ovulation with around 30-day cycle, where, at day 30, you see um, bleeding and our menses. Um, and that continues until ovulation at some point starts to be a little bit unpredictable, a little bit shifty. There's a little bit of that, a little bit of change that happens, a little bit of unpredictability on when our ovulation is happening. And that's basically when perimenopause is happening. So the only difference between all that time before then is basically predictability of ovulation. While the quality of um, eggs is continuing to go down, it's been continuing to go down since that time anyways. So there is no like structured date where, oh, your ovary is now in perimenopause. Not true, to be honest. So it's just a matter of identifying a pattern and an age bracket. Even the age bracket is so wide. For most women, it's in their 40s. There is no specific age. Um, for a lot of women, it's late 30s. And for some women, it starts in their 20s. So that depends on your background, your genetics, epigenetics, lifestyle, all these things factor in on when your perimenopausal period starts. So while, you know, there is, it sounds like it's like a very structured age and time and like, symptoms. It's not really. It's very uh, eclectic, and there's a lot of diversity in the word. Um, so it is connected, however, with certain symptoms, which can be sometimes perimenopausal, but sometimes not. In early stages of perimenopause, a lot of the times, with that little shift in ovulation, sometimes it's tricky, it's very minor, but it is, we definitely, a lot of the times we see a change in progesterone. So progesterone becomes less available, or uh, not enough in, in our systems, and that can connect to symptoms like sleeplessness, anxiety, and more bleeding, more heaviness with bleeding. It really varies by the person. And again, if you are experiencing these symptoms, that doesn't mean it's perimenopause. There are other reasons that can cause any of the symptoms that I'll be discussing in this video. Then as we move on in the process of, the changes in our ovulation, the unpredictability there, the unpredictability and the um, erraticness of ovulation continues to um, progress. So we'll see more and more of that. So as we go deeper into perimenopause and later stages, estrogen starts to be of a hectic buddy here. So we'll see more ups and downs. And these can be really big um, hikes and dips, in estrogen, which can be pretty significant for our mood. So we'll see a lot of, um, brain fog, fatigue. We'll see a lot of, some women do experience hot flashes. Some women start to experience metabolic changes and weight gain. Um, and it really can differ per person. Um, Libido can take a hit. Vaginal dryness can become a problem. Um, yeah, so uh, it there isn't, well, I hate to say that late, early, late, it really varies by the person, but we try to put structure on things, right? And that continues as and as we progress in the ups and downs, and like the delays and the changes in that ovulation time until we hit menopause. And menopause is basically defined 12 months of no bleeding or no ovulation. Um, that is when, per the books, we call it menopause. But at that point, the ovarian reserve is pretty, pretty reduced. Pretty depleted. And then hormones at that point also plateau, and we're at no hormones. Basically, when we say hormones, estrogen and progesterone, these are the two hormones we're highlighting in this video. Um, there because there are changes in, another signaling molecule called FSH, and testosterone can change a little bit, but not as much. These are the two main players in perimenopause, and perimenopausal symptoms. Um, so, you know, that should give you an idea of, what is perimenopause. Does that, if I ask you again now, does that mean that, life has ended, is, we're fully aged, and not that there is anything wrong with aging, but some people fear aging so much, and that is something I definitely see on the daily in my practice. Um, I don't view that. I do view things differently, but does that mean life is gloomy and dark and, we're going to be hot and sweaty all the time? No, no, not at all. Um, but we got to take action. Like, if we are just sitting and waiting for things to change themselves, that's not going to happen. There are so many tools. We are blessed, you know, we're living in a world where information is available. For a lot of women not long ago, we didn't even know what perimenopause or menopause did to us, and what it meant for our health and well-being. So now we have the tools to take action, to address these symptoms as they come by. And we can start even earlier. If I am given the a magic tool to go back in time, or like a time machine to go back in time and change things, one of the things that I would do is really address my hormones and track them earlier. I would look at, my estrogen and progesterone levels. What are my optimal levels during my, at the height of my fertile years. And then track the pattern, how it changes over time. Um, how do I detoxify my hormones? Do I prefer different pathways over others? These can be really useful tools, to mitigate those hormones, or these symptoms from happening in the future, and put them at bay. And and live like a vital life, really. We are living in a masculine world that demands a lot of more from us. We're embodying, a different a different energy, as women in this age and time. The demand is higher. We're, in demand at home, and then we go to work. We're demand in a different, way, where we need to be present and available and focused. And that's where, hormones can really help us in both, you know, both being on top of that stressy home environment, and, the tasks that we have to take care of, and then being available and present when it comes to our jobs, and, meetings, and the tasks that are required from us. Um, so hopefully this explained to you what perimenopause is, dispelled some of the myths, and maybe asserted some of them. Um, I will be talking more about some other topics soon. I'm trying to get some of the basic um, hormone related or midlife related videos out there, but I am a naturopathic doctor by training, so I talk about different topics. So, things that are dear to me, like gut health. I talk about immune health, metabolic health, and skin conditions. So we'll be jumping on again soon to tackle those topics. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next video.